I was talking about minimum wage, and I was talking about how it can't be left up to the states because the states have shown that if it was up to them, their minimum wage would be so fucking low, it would be akin to slave labor. And that we should have a minimum wage that is mandated and regulated at the federal level, instituted at the state level, and should be dependent on each state's cost of living. So, for example, the federal government would mandate the formula by which you calculate cost of living based on the most expensive cost of living area in your state. So, California would require a much larger, much higher minimum wage than Mississippi would, or West Virginia. New York would require a much higher minimum wage than Tennessee would. So you would create a formula at the federal level that determines the minimum wage based on cost of living of a given area, and then it would be applied state by state by state by state. And you would have a federally mandated minimum wage implemented at the state level, and the number would change based on what state you were in. This person says, Tom, if the states don't do it, that's the will of the people. If the people of that state want it, they should vote to implement it. It's not complicated, except you're missing a part, right? And the part that you're missing is that the members of the state legislature, in many cases, determine what gets voted on, right? The citizens of the state, in many cases, don't get to just say, hey, I want to vote on this, and then it gets put on the ballot. Listen, saying that if the states don't want it, then it's okay, or if the states do want it, then it's okay, is not necessarily the answer to everything. Remember, states in this country at once upon a time broke off because what they wanted was to continue to own slaves. So I guess my question to you would be this: if a state said, if Alabama said, we want slaves, we want to bring slavery back, we feel like we benefited financially, we had a booming economy, and people were much happier when we could own slaves, so that's what we want. And the people of the state of Alabama voted to own slaves. Should they be allowed to do so? Because according to you, it would be their will, right? It would be whatever the will of the people want. And so therefore they should get whatever they want. So if the people of Alabama were given a ballot initiative to bring back slavery, and they overwhelmingly voted in favor of that, in your world, it would be okay if Alabama had a law that said you could own slaves. And if you say no, then my question to you, the next question to you would be, well, why not? And my guess is you would say, well, because it's wrong to own slaves. Okay. And I believe it is wrong for employers to pay a wage that they know the people who are working for them cannot live off of. I believe it is wrong for a state to have a minimum wage of whatever they want it to be. Pick $3.50 an hour. So why shouldn't they control that at the federal level the way slavery is controlled at the federal level? I mean, you got to think about your argument here when it comes to states' rights, right? If the states want it, they should get it. And it's not really a good way of going about running this country or running these states, because there are some states out there that want some pretty fucked up shit. I'm sure that there are some blue states that want some things that you don't like, right? Illinois banned assault weapons. You cool with that? State of Illinois did it. So therefore, it should be okay with you that the state of Illinois did that, right?